In early 2024, Amy Duggar, one of the most recognized members of the famous Duggar family from the reality TV show 19 Kids and Counting, shared deeply personal news with her followers. Just 2 months after her husband, Dillon King, was released from a life-threatening hospital stay, Amy publicly announced that Dillon had been diagnosed with a rare and serious autoimmune disorder. The revelation came as a shock to many fans who had followed the couple's journey for years, and it marked a turning point in their lives, one filled with uncertainty, resilience, and a newfound commitment to health, faith, and each other. The ordeal began in late February when Dillon, then 36, was rushed to the hospital due to severe and unexplained symptoms. At the time, Amy remained vague about the specifics, only sharing on social media that her husband was experiencing a life-threatening situation. She urged fans to pray for him and keep them in their thoughts during what she described as an incredibly difficult and uncertain time. Details were sparse at first, but those close to the couple noted that Dillon had been feeling unwell for weeks leading up to his hospitalization. He had been battling fatigue, sharp joint pain, neurological issues, and sudden weight loss, all symptoms that baffled doctors initially. The severity of his condition escalated quickly, prompting emergency medical intervention. For several days, Dillon hovered between stability and critical condition, leaving Amy and their loved ones in a state of emotional turmoil. It wasn't until he was admitted into intensive care and subjected to extensive diagnostic testing, including MRIs, biopsies, and blood work, that medical professionals began to piece together what was happening inside his body. Eventually, a diagnosis was made. Dillon was suffering from a rare autoimmune disorder that affected multiple systems within his body. While Amy has not disclosed the exact name of Dillon's condition, citing both privacy concerns and the complexity of the illness, she has spoken openly about the impact it has had on his life and their marriage. Autoimmune diseases are notoriously difficult to diagnose because they often present with overlapping or ambiguous symptoms. In Dillon's case, his immune system had mistakenly begun attacking his own tissues, causing widespread inflammation and damage. Autoimmune disorders can affect virtually any part of the body, from the skin and joints to internal organs and the nervous system. Common examples include lupus, multiple sclerosis, rheumatoid arthritis, and vasculitis, though there are over 80 known types of autoimmune conditions. Many of these illnesses are chronic and require long-term management, often involving immunosuppressive drugs, lifestyle modifications, and regular monitoring by specialists. For Dillon, treatment began immediately after diagnosis. His regimen includes a combination of medications designed to suppress his immune system's overactivity, reduce inflammation, and manage pain. Alongside this, he has been working closely with a team of specialists, including rheumatologists, neurologists, and gastroenterologists, to address the various ways the disease has impacted his body. Amy has emphasized that while the road ahead is still long and uncertain, Dillon is already showing signs of improvement. He has regained some of his strength, and his energy levels have slowly started to rise. Still, she acknowledges that the couple must now adapt to a new normal, one where health becomes the top priority and every decision is made with Dillon's well-being in mind. The experience has taken a heavy emotional toll on both Amy and Dillon. As someone who grew up in the public eye, Amy has always balanced transparency with discretion when it comes to her personal life. However, this particular challenge tested her ability to share honestly without oversharing or compromising her husband's dignity. In interviews and social media posts, Amy has been candid about the fear and helplessness she felt during Dillon's hospitalization. She described the moment she thought she might lose him as one of the darkest periods of her life. "There were times I didn't know if he would pull through," she admitted in a heartfelt Instagram post. "But we held onto hope, prayer, and the love we have for each other." Dillon himself has also opened up about the psychological effects of his illness. Being so suddenly incapacitated and facing a life-altering diagnosis has forced him to reevaluate his priorities and approach to life. Both he and Amy agree that the experience has deepened their bond and brought them closer together in unexpected ways. Their extended family, including Amy's parents Jim Bob and Michelle Duggar, as well as her siblings and their respective families, have played a crucial role in supporting the couple throughout this journey. Friends and fans have also flooded social media with messages of encouragement, prayers, and stories of their own battles with autoimmune diseases, creating a sense of community and solidarity around the couple. One of the biggest changes following Dillon's diagnosis has been a complete overhaul of their lifestyle. Amy and Dillon have adopted a more holistic approach to health, focusing on nutrition, physical therapy, mental wellness, and spiritual grounding. They've transitioned to a cleaner diet, eliminating processed foods and incorporating more whole foods, anti-inflammatory ingredients, and supplements recommended by Dillon's doctors. Amy has shared snippets of their meal plans and cooking routines, emphasizing how food plays a vital role in managing chronic illness. In addition to dietary changes, Dillon has started a gentle exercise program tailored to his current abilities. Physical therapy sessions have helped him regain mobility and strength, while mindfulness practices like meditation and journaling have provided emotional relief and stress reduction. Amy has also become more vocal about the importance of mental health, especially for caregivers and partners of those living with chronic illness. She credits therapy and open conversations with helping her process the trauma and anxiety associated with nearly losing Dillon. As someone with a significant online presence, including hundreds of thousands of followers across platforms, Amy has used her voice to raise awareness about autoimmune diseases. These conditions are often invisible, misunderstood, and underfunded, yet they affect millions of people worldwide. Through her posts, Amy has encouraged others to listen to their bodies and seek second opinions if something feels off. She's also highlighted the need for better research, improved diagnostic tools, and greater empathy for those living with chronic illness. Some fans have expressed gratitude for her openness, noting that seeing a public figure speak so candidly about such a sensitive topic helps reduce stigma and fosters understanding. Others have shared their own struggles with similar diagnoses, creating a space for dialogue and mutual support. While Amy is cautious about becoming a full-time advocate, she has hinted at future plans to do more in this space. There have been discussions about starting a foundation or partnering with existing organizations to provide resources, education, and support for individuals and families dealing with autoimmune diseases. Throughout this entire journey, Amy and Dillon have leaned heavily on their faith. Raised in a deeply religious household, Amy has always turned to prayer and scripture in times of trouble. During Dillon's hospitalization, she said she found comfort in reading the Bible, speaking with church leaders, and relying on a network of fellow believers for spiritual guidance. She has shared specific verses that gave her strength during the darkest moments, passages about healing, perseverance, and trusting in God's plan, even when things seem hopeless. For Amy, faith isn't just a coping mechanism, it's a foundational element of her identity and her marriage. Dillon, too, has spoken about how his near-death experience has renewed his sense of purpose and deepened his relationship with God. Both he and Amy believe that his survival was nothing short of a miracle, a gift that has given them a second chance to live intentionally and love more fully. Today, Amy and Dillon are cautiously optimistic about the future. While Dillon will likely be managing his condition for the rest of his life, he and Amy are committed to doing whatever it takes to maintain his quality of life. They continue to follow medical advice, attend appointments, and make adjustments as needed. Despite the challenges, the couple remains grateful for the lessons learned through this experience. They've gained a deeper appreciation for the fragility of life, the strength of human connection, and the power of resilience. Most importantly, they've rediscovered the joy of simply being together, something they no longer take for granted. As they move forward, Amy and Dillon hope to use their platform to inspire others, advocate for better healthcare access, and spread awareness about autoimmune disorders. Whether through storytelling, charitable efforts, or everyday acts of kindness, they are determined to turn their pain into purpose. In a world where health crises can feel isolating and overwhelming, Amy and Dillon's story serves as a reminder that even in the face of adversity, there is always room for hope, healing, and love. Their journey is far from over, but with each passing day, they're proving faith and partnership can carry you through even the darkest of times. In a high-profile legal case that has drawn national attention, former reality TV star Josh Duggar has reportedly enlisted the services of seasoned attorneys to assist with his ongoing appeals related to child sexual abuse material charges. Following his sentencing in 2021, after pleading guilty to receiving and possessing CSAM, Duggar is now seeking to overturn or reduce his conviction through various legal avenues. As the appeals process unfolds, legal experts, media outlets, and the public remain closely attuned to developments in this complex and controversial case. Josh Duggar, once best known as the eldest son in the large, conservative Christian Duggar family featured on the TLC show 19 Kids and Counting, became embroiled in scandal when past misconduct came to light. In 2015, prior to his arrest in 2021, reports surfaced revealing that he had molested multiple underage girls, including several of his sisters when he was a teenager. Though these incidents were addressed internally by the Duggar family and law enforcement at the time, no criminal charges were filed during his adolescence. Duggar's downfall took a new turn in April 2021 when federal agents arrested him following an investigation into illegal activity involving child pornography. According to court documents, Duggar was found to have downloaded thousands of images containing CSAM using devices registered under his name. He was subsequently charged with one count of receiving and possessing child pornography, which led to a guilty plea in May 2021. In December of that year, he was sentenced to 12 years and 7 months in federal prison, followed by a period of supervised release. Following his sentencing, Duggar's legal team filed notice of intent to appeal his conviction and sentence. This step marked the beginning of a broader legal strategy aimed at challenging both the factual findings and procedural aspects of the case. Appeals in federal criminal cases are typically based on claims of legal error, constitutional violations, or inappropriate sentencing guidelines. In Duggar's case, his attorneys have reportedly focused on multiple grounds for appeal, including questions about the legality of search warrants, potential sentencing enhancements, and whether certain evidence should have been excluded from consideration. One of the key arguments being pursued by Duggar's defense team centers on the execution of search warrants used to obtain digital devices from his home. Defense attorneys have argued that the warrant lacked sufficient probable cause or was overly broad, potentially violating Duggar's Fourth Amendment rights against unreasonable searches and seizures. If successful, such a challenge could result in the suppression of critical evidence used to secure his conviction. Additionally, Duggar's legal team has expressed concerns over the application of sentencing guidelines that significantly increased his recommended prison term. Under federal law, defendants convicted of CSAM-related offenses may receive enhanced sentences based on factors such as prior criminal history, the nature and extent of the material involved, and whether the defendant engaged in pattern of activity behavior. Duggar's attorneys have reportedly contested the application of these enhancements, arguing that they were improperly applied or exaggerated the severity of his conduct. As expected, Duggar's legal efforts have sparked intense public debate and media coverage. Given his prior notoriety, stemming from the revelations about his teenage misconduct, many view his current legal battle with skepticism or outright condemnation. Victims' advocacy groups and legal commentators have emphasized the seriousness of CSAM offenses and the need for accountability in such cases. Meanwhile, some supporters of Duggar and his family have framed his actions as part of a broader narrative of personal redemption and religious repentance. The intersection of celebrity status, religious background, and criminal justice has made Duggar's case particularly polarizing. Some critics argue that his wealth and connections afford him greater access to legal resources than the average defendant, potentially influencing the outcome of his appeals. Others maintain that every individual deserves a fair trial and the opportunity to challenge a conviction through due process, regardless of their past actions or public image. Media coverage of Duggar's case has also reignited discussions about the broader issue of child exploitation and the challenges faced by law enforcement in prosecuting such crimes. Federal authorities have continued to emphasize the importance of combating CSAM distribution and possession, noting that even non-production offenses contribute to the demand for such material and perpetuate harm against victims. Despite the efforts of his legal team, experts caution that overturning a federal conviction is a difficult and often lengthy process. Appellate courts generally defer to lower court rulings unless clear legal errors can be demonstrated. Furthermore, the evidentiary burden in CSAM cases tends to favor prosecutors, as digital forensics and internet records can provide compelling proof of guilt. Nonetheless, Duggar's attorneys remain committed to pursuing all available legal remedies. In addition to challenging the admissibility of evidence and the application of sentencing guidelines, they may also explore the possibility of post-conviction relief or clemency in the future. These options, however, are typically reserved for extraordinary circumstances or newly discovered evidence that could fundamentally alter the case. Legal analysts have also speculated about the potential for a cooperation agreement, wherein Duggar might provide information or testimony in exchange for a reduced sentence. However, given the nature of his offense and the lack of indication that he possesses valuable intelligence relevant to other investigations, such a scenario appears unlikely at this stage. Beyond the immediate implications for Duggar himself, his case raises broader questions about how the legal system handles individuals who commit bad offenses, particularly those involving digital material. There is an ongoing debate among lawmakers, judges, and criminologists regarding the effectiveness of mandatory minimums, registration requirements, and long-term supervision for those convicted of CSAM-related crimes. Some advocates argue that harsh sentencing policies do little to rehabilitate offenders or prevent recidivism, while others contend that strong penalties serve as necessary deterrents. Duggar's case, with its unique combination of fame, religious context, and prior misconduct, adds another layer of complexity to these discussions. Moreover, the case highlights the evolving nature of digital crime and the difficulties faced by courts in adapting traditional legal principles to modern technological realities. Issues such as encryption, online anonymity, and the sheer volume of data involved in CSAM cases present significant challenges for both prosecutors and defense attorneys alike. As Josh Duggar continues to navigate the appellate process, his legal team remains focused on securing a favorable outcome through strategic litigation and careful argumentation. While the odds of a full reversal remain uncertain, any reduction in his sentence or modification of his legal status would represent a significant development in the case. Meanwhile, the broader societal conversation surrounding bad offenses, digital crime, and the role of celebrity in the justice system will likely persist long after the final ruling is issued. Ultimately, Duggar's pursuit of legal help underscores the enduring principle that even those accused of the most serious crimes are entitled to due process and representation. Whether his appeals succeed or fail, the case serves as a stark reminder of the complexities inherent in the American legal system and the profound impact that legal decisions can have on individuals, families, and communities.